Good morning, welcome back. Right then, today, little project, we are going to do cam chain tensioner. The problem I've got with this one is I think it's losing pressure overnight. It's sprung loaded, but it's also oil fed. Now it relies on oil pressure to keep the tension on the plunger, which in turn tensions the cam chain. Now overnight I think it's dropping a little bit of pressure because the seals have probably gone inside it. And the first crack in the morning, I've got a little bit of chain rattle. Only for a few seconds, it's not a massive deal, but I don't like it, I want to address it. This one I've got now is the upgraded version. Now it's lasted a few thousand miles, but it started doing the same thing again. So I'm not having it anymore. I've got problems with my OCD, as you know, when it comes to bikes. Everything else I'm fine. Just anything mechanical, if it's not right, it's wrong. If it's not performing, it gets changed. That's all there is to it. That's just my way. We're going to put this one on. Now this one, APE, cam chain tensioner. So, I'm going to change this over today, show you the procedure I use. So I've done these quite a few times. It could be right, it could be wrong. It's your choice, your bike. Do it how you want to do it. I'm not telling you how to suck eggs. It's quite a simple job really, but a few things that I always check. So I run that through with you, and we'll see how we go. So I'll get some gear together. We'll start backing this off. There's a few bits inside there that we need to look at. So just bear with me. Right then, let's begin. We'll start by taking this cover off, protective cover. Right, we'll just whip these off. This protective cover. They're very nice, posh, Gucci carbon fibre covers, which are quite nice. The only reason I put those on, I had a few chips on this cover. I cannot, for love nor money, find the paint code to touch them up. So I'll end up with carbon fibre covers. Right, pop that one off. Right, looking at this, it looks to me like, it's like, yeah, why is that? It's just overlapping. So that cover's got to come off as well before I can get this cover off. It's slightly overlapping on that corner. So I'll pop that off as well. This is going to turn into a video of me taking nuts and bolts out of everything. You may wonder why I'm actually wearing gloves when I do these videos. Now it's quite a funny story really, because I'm in heavy engineering and have been for 30 plus years. And the really weird thing is, I'm up to the eyeballs in oil, grease, God knows what else. Loads and loads of stuff. I don't wear gloves at work. I don't like to wear gloves at work. I've never ever had an issue with dermatitis or anything like that. Bike oil destroys my fingers. It makes them so sore, it's unbelievable. I don't know what it is, something friction additives or whatever it is in the oil, I don't know. But it's not pleasant, it disagrees with me a little bit, so that's why I'm wearing girly gloves, I'm afraid. Right, okay. We've got clearance now, so that's good. Right, let's proceed and get that cover off. You're probably wondering why I'm taking this off, but I'll explain that in a minute. I'll just whip this off, get them all out of the way. Now I've got to try and remember where all these bolts go and where that bracket goes. Because I've got the memory of a goldfish. I don't know what I had for breakfast this morning. I can tell you what I did in 1980. I've got no idea what I ate this morning. which is a sign of old age, I suppose. Right then, there's a couple of dowels on there, so might need a little wiggle. Come on. Right, she's out. Right. This pin belongs in there. That's to hold the tensioner in. But don't worry about that for now. We'll get to that. Right then. Just check for a little bit of slack. You've got a little bit of sideways slack on there. Not a lot, just a little bit. So just make note of that. Yeah. We're all good. Right. Tensioner itself. Right, on the tensioner, you've got a 10mm nut, or 10mm bolt, sorry, in there. Just crack that off. Because inside, there's an adjuster for the plunger. Stupid hands are in the way again. Right, keep that to one side. Now what I use is a very stubby, cut down 3mm Allen key. Now, if you pop that in the hole, have a feel around and you'll feel it lock into the hex drive in the end of the shaft. You can guarantee I won't be able to do it while we're on camera, because that's just how it is. Right, that's in. Right then, if we turn that, keep turning that anti-clockwise. Which is really difficult. Because you've got no room whatsoever. Right, what that's effectively doing is drawing the plunger back into the body. Just a few turns should be okay. You don't need to go mad. Right then, so that's off, that's backed off. Now we can undo these bolts. Ooh, there we go. All right. Bit tight. They've now got thread lock on as well, so they can be quite tight coming out. And that's really awkward to get to. That's why ball-ended Allen key is your best friend for this job. You get it cracked off, you can put the ball in, use a crazy angle, and then wind it out, so it's all good. Alright, excuse fingers. Alright, that's one out. I'll take that one out as well. Right, you may be wondering why I put the Allen key in and back that off. Well, simply because if you don't, you've still got spring tension pushing this back. Those two bolts are the only thing holding it in place. Now, if you don't back that off, if you get to the last couple of threads, there's a chance you may rip the thread out because of the spring tension that's behind it. So there's no tension on there now, and that should just pop straight out. Now, I'm going to demonstrate what that does. Turn it clockwise, pushes it back in. Turn it anti-clockwise, pulls it back out to release the tension. But when you release the Allen key, pull that out, it fires out. So when you reinstall one of these, you put your Allen key in, turny, back it right off. Once it's in position and these bolts are tightened up, pull the Allen key out, that fires out, tensions the chain. That's how they're installed. But we're not doing that because we're going manual. Just a small note as well, in case anyone's interested, probably not, but inside there, it's your little hole. That is the oil way. Now, when the oil pump's running, you get pressurised oil coming out of that hole there, and what that does, it pushes into that hole there, and there's one on that side as well. Now, that's where the oil pressure comes from. Now, inside there, I believe there's a seal that is passing. So the pressurised oil is in there, but it doesn't stay in there overnight. I think it's bleeding out, and it's allowing the hydraulic pressure to release. You've still got spring tension, so your cam chain is still under tension, just not quite as much as it should be. Right, this is the manual cam chain tensioner. Decent brand. Other brands are available, obviously. Right then, this is to back it off. Now when I do, I'll back these right off, and that shortens that point from point A to point B, shortens that right down, so you can get that in the hole located properly, and then you can adjust it afterwards once it's in. If you notice, there are no holes in there, so it's not hydraulically assisted. It's just purely on a screw, and it's down to you to set the tension, which is what we'll go through, just so we know we get this right. Right, let's pop this in. New bolts. This is where I lose one because I've got stupidly large hands. I know you can't see because my hands are in the way. I've got hands like Wreck-It Ralph. I'm messing about with motorbikes where everything's small and fiddly. I need to find a different hobby. Right, ball and Allen key. Drops in there nicely. We'll just snug that down. It's quite tight. I think there's still a little bit of thread lock inside the hole. Right. Is that snug? Not quite. A little bit more. Another tip for you as well, if you're using Allen keys in a really tight space like this, I'll use the shielded ones like this, or if you haven't got them, just wrap a piece of electrical tape around the shaft of the Allen key, and then it saves you scratching all the frame. I've actually done it there, look, which is not good. Just noticed that. No, I'm not happy. But yeah, it is what it is. So snug that down. Right, give that a little nip. Doesn't need a lot. You can use thread lock if you like. I normally would, but for the sake of video, I'm just trying to get through this a little bit quicker so I don't bore everybody. So right, that's snug down. Okay, they're tight. That's in place. Gasket's in place. That's backed off. We'll move down there now, and I'll show you how to set this up. Okay then, right, that's a cam chain there. That's your cam chain guide. The shoe from the tensioner sits on the back of this, just inside there, and what that does, when you wind it in, it pushes that forwards. You probably can't see it very well, but it actually puts pressure on the chain that way. So if you look at the movement on the chain now, it's quite slack. I'll start winding that in by hand. So I'm winding in now, and as soon as it touches down, it'll start to put tension on. It's going down now. Still going. Just back the nut off a little bit. Right, that's stopped now. So just back it off a little tiny bit, maybe an eighth of a turn. Just so you've got a little bit of sideways movement. And that puts you in the right ballpark. And always make sure before you tighten everything up and you start putting tension on the cam chain tensioner, this pin is securely located, because if that's not in, this won't do anything. The bottom of this will just go down onto the chain. You won't put any tension onto your chain at all. So just make sure that pin is securely in place before you start making any sort of adjustments. Okay. Right, let's put the cover back on and see where we are. Make sure that pin locates in that hole there, because that stops that pin coming out and keeps it in line. So that's back in. I'll try and get these bolts in the right order, but I'm not sure which ones need to come out again. Excuse me. Because there are bolts in there as well. Right. No, that one's wrong. Of course it is. So that goes in that one there. What a load of faffing about. Just have some future covers. Get all those back on. Something's not right there, I made a mistake. Right, bear with me, I've got the wrong bolt in. Right then, that's better. Right, I'll just start snugging these down. I will go through all the torque settings, but I'm not going to bore you to tears with that sort of thing. And generally, when I put crank covers back on, I don't normally torque them, I just normally go by feel. You kind of get a good idea of what's tight and what's not, as long as you don't act like a complete ape and destroy everything. Because some people do. Some people think, oh, I'll give it some, you know, get it snug down, tighten it, then I'll give it some more, make sure it doesn't leak. Well, you know, I think the torque settings are only something like 8 Newton meters, something really small, you know, so if you can't do that by hand with a feel of it, then maybe you shouldn't be working on bikes, you know. It's what it is. Right, that one I'll snug down, but I'm going to leave it loose because that bracket holds the belly pan on, so I need to get that in the right position first. So we'll just snug that. Right, what we'll do, we'll put this cover back on as well, because there are a few bolts missing and we don't want the cover to leak. So I'll drop that one on as well. And get the right tool, Dean, come on. Right, okay. Right, get all the bolts located. There we go. Just run those down. I knew this had turned into a video where I'm just tightening things up and taking things out. Right, okay. So, just snug those again. Nip them down. Right, Okay, right then, we'll start it up and see what it sounds like. Sounds pretty good. We're pretty close. Right then, top tip, when you put them in, if you're not 100% certain about the tension of the cam chain tension, the manual one, if you start the bike up and it's making a whining noise, that's a good indication that your cam chain is too tight, so you need to back that tension off a little bit. If you start it up and it rattles, it's not tight enough, so you need to drive it in a little bit. You need to find that sweet spot between it rattling and whining. Now, once you've found that sweet spot and you've got no abnormal noises on acceleration or revving the bike up, then yeah, you're pretty much there. Hope this helps, guys. I'll see you again soon.